Love has been misunderstood by many. People often confuse attachment with affection, control with care, and sacrifice with strength. But real love is not about losing yourself to keep someone else close. It is not about erasing your voice to maintain harmony. It is not about becoming smaller so that someone else can feel bigger. Real love is about freedom, the freedom to be who you are, to express your truth, to grow without fear, and to evolve without guilt. It's the space where two people can exist fully, without trying to change or limit each other. When love is real, it liberates rather than confines. It doesn't ask you to surrender your identity, it helps you discover it. It doesn't demand constant proof of loyalty. It trusts in your presence and respects your individuality. Many women are raised to believe that love must come with struggle, that devotion is proven through endurance, and that giving more always means loving more. But this belief leads to emptiness, not connection. When love becomes a battlefield where one constantly sacrifices peace for validation, it stops being love, it becomes survival. Real love never asks for your silence when you have something to say. It doesn't punish your independence or make you question your worth. It doesn't make you feel guilty for dreaming bigger or wanting more from life. Love, in its truest form, is a partnership between equals, a place where both hearts grow in the light of respect and freedom. When a woman feels safe to be herself in love, she blossoms, her confidence strengthens, her creativity expands, and her spirit shines brighter. That's what love is meant to do, to empower, not to diminish. If you find yourself constantly adjusting your behavior, your opinions, or your personality just to be accepted, that's not love guiding you, that's fear disguising itself as affection. Real love allows you to be unfiltered, unmasked, and unapologetically yourself. It doesn't bind you with conditions or control. It encourages you to keep evolving. Freedom in love does not mean distance or indifference. It means understanding that love grows best in trust, not in fear of loss. It means recognizing that you can be deeply connected without being consumed. Real love celebrates individuality because it knows that two whole people can build something far more powerful than two halves clinging to each other. It is never about ownership, it is about partnership. It doesn't say you belong to me. It says we belong with each other. When love feels like freedom, it brings peace instead of anxiety, strength instead of dependence, and balance instead of chaos. That kind of love doesn't take away your wings, it helps you spread them wider. Because in real love, growth and connection are not opposites. They coexist beautifully. It is in that space of freedom that love reaches its highest form, not as a cage that limits you, but as a wind that carries you forward. Many people mistake control for care, thinking that love means holding on tightly, never letting go, and keeping someone close no matter what. But when love turns into control, it loses its purity. It becomes something heavy, something that suffocates instead of nurtures. The illusion of control often begins with good intentions, wanting to protect, to guide, or to stay connected. Yet slowly, that protection turns into possession, and possession turns into fear. When a woman feels she must change who she is just to keep someone's love, that love stops being real. It becomes a cage disguised as commitment, a place where she starts losing pieces of herself, one compromise at a time. The tragedy is that many women don't even notice it happening at first. They think it's normal to give up small things, a dream here, a boundary there, because they want the relationship to work. They silence their opinions to avoid arguments, they hide their ambitions to make others feel comfortable, and they accept less than they deserve because they believe love means sacrifice. But when love costs you your identity, it is no longer love, it is self-erasure. The more you try to please, the more invisible you become, and the more invisible you become, the harder it is to remember who you were before you started shrinking yourself to fit someone else's idea of love. Real love is not about control, it is about choice. It is choosing each other freely every day without force or fear. When love requires you to surrender your voice, your dreams, or your individuality, it stops being a connection and becomes confinement. Love that restricts growth is not protection, it's limitation. A relationship built on control can never sustain peace because peace cannot exist where there is domination. It is built on trust, and trust only grows in the soil of respect and honesty. A woman should never feel guilty for wanting space to breathe, for needing time to think, or for pursuing goals outside her relationship. These are not acts of rebellion. They are acts of self-respect. The right partner will never see your independence as a threat, but as a reflection of your strength. Love should not demand submission, it should inspire collaboration. It should not silence your voice, it should amplify it. It should not ask you to give up your light. It should encourage you to shine brighter. The moment love becomes a cage, it loses its essence. The beauty of love lies in freedom, in knowing that both hearts are there not because they have to be, but because they want to be. Love flourishes when there is space for individuality, when both people can grow without fear of judgment or control. When you stop holding on out of fear and start trusting out of respect, that is when love transforms. It ceases to be a prison and becomes a partnership. Because real love never traps you, it sets you free to become everything you were meant to be. Self-respect is the foundation of every kind of love, the love you give, the love you receive, and the love you hold for yourself. Without self-respect, love becomes an endless search for validation, a constant need to prove that you are worthy of being chosen. But when a woman begins to truly respect herself, something changes. She stops chasing acceptance from people who only offer her pieces of affection. She no longer begs to be understood by those who never listen. She no longer tolerates inconsistency, emotional manipulation, or the kind of love that only thrives when she is quiet. Self-respect teaches her that peace is more valuable than attention, that solitude is better than shallow companionship, and that being true to herself is far greater than being approved by others. Respecting yourself does not mean arrogance or pride. It means recognizing your worth and refusing to let anyone treat you as less than you are. It means knowing what you bring to the table: compassion, intelligence, strength, and heart, and refusing to trade those qualities for temporary comfort. A woman who respects herself will never let love make her smaller. She will never let anyone convince her that her dreams are unrealistic or that her boundaries are selfish, because she knows that protecting her energy is not selfish, it is essential. Real love will always honor those boundaries. It will never ask her to compromise her dignity just to keep the connection alive. There is incredible strength in the woman who chooses herself, not because she has given up on love, but because she has learned that her value does not depend on it. She has discovered that being alone is not the same as being lonely. It is the space where she reconnects with her truth. When she stands firm in her self-worth, she attracts love that mirrors that strength. She draws people who value her authenticity and who see her as an equal, not a possession. Real love cannot exist without respect, and that respect must begin within. The truth is, the way you treat yourself sets the standard for how others will treat you. If you constantly forgive disrespect, you teach others that your boundaries are flexible. If you silence your pain to keep the peace, you teach them that your voice doesn't matter. But when you start valuing yourself, you create a different energy, one that silently says, "I am not afraid to walk away from what hurts me." That kind of energy is powerful. It transforms the kind of love you accept, the conversations you tolerate, and the company you keep. Self-respect doesn't close you off from love. It opens the door to the right kind of love, the kind that doesn't dim your light but adds to it, the kind that doesn't control you but celebrates you. When you know your worth, you stop settling for anything less than sincerity, honesty, and peace. And when that happens, love becomes what it was always meant to be, not a battlefield for survival, but a sanctuary for two souls who choose each other without losing themselves. Love is meant to help you grow. It should not keep you where you are, confined by someone else's fears or expectations. Growth is the true measure of real love, because love that is genuine doesn't stay stagnant. It evolves, matures, and deepens over time. When love is healthy, it becomes a source of strength, not struggle. It becomes a foundation that gives you the courage to dream bigger, not a weight that holds you back. A relationship where both people can grow independently while still supporting one another is one that stands the test of time. It's built on mutual respect, shared purpose, and a deep understanding that growth is not a threat, it is the very sign that love is alive. Many people are afraid of growth because it changes things. When one person begins to evolve, the balance shifts, but love should not resist that shift, it should welcome it. When a woman grows in her confidence, her knowledge, her purpose, she is not leaving love behind, she is bringing more to it. Her growth brings new energy, new ideas, and new depth to the relationship. Real love is not intimidated by her evolution, it celebrates it. It knows that when she becomes stronger, both partners benefit. Love that supports growth understands that independence does not mean separation. It means each person becoming the best version of themselves so that their bond can flourish. Love that limits your dreams, isolates you from your passions, or makes you feel guilty for wanting more is not love. It is fear in disguise. Fear keeps people small, but love inspires expansion. Love says, I see your potential, and I want you to reach it. It doesn't demand that you shrink to make someone else comfortable. It doesn't ask you to abandon what matters to you. Real love encourages you to grow in every direction mentally, emotionally, spiritually. It doesn't compete with your success. It contributes to it. It doesn't ask you to choose between your goals and your heart. It finds a way for both to thrive together. When two people are committed to growth, their love becomes a partnership of progress. They challenge each other in healthy ways. They hold each other accountable, not out of control, but out of care. They create space where both can learn, fail, and rise again. Growth keeps love alive because it brings renewal. Without growth, love begins to fade. It loses its energy and becomes routine. But when both individuals continue to evolve, love stays exciting, meaningful, and purposeful. It keeps the connection fresh and real because both hearts are learning and transforming together. Real love feels like peace, not pressure. It feels like expansion, not contraction. It's not about keeping each other the same, but helping each other become more. When love helps you grow, you become more open, more compassionate, and more in tune with yourself. That kind of love doesn't just fill your heart, it elevates your soul. It teaches you that love was never meant to be a cage, it was meant to be a garden, a place where both souls grow freely, side by side, under the light of trust and freedom. There comes a point in every woman's life when she realizes that staying somewhere she no longer grows is far more painful than walking away. That moment of realization is not weakness, it is awakening. Choosing freedom over fear takes immense courage because fear whispers that you will be alone, that no one else will understand, that leaving means failing. But freedom reminds you that peace is more valuable than false comfort. It reminds you that love should never come with the cost of your happiness. Walking away from love that holds you back is not the end of something, it is the beginning of your return to yourself. It is the moment you decide that your worth is not up for negotiation, and that your spirit deserves to be free. Many women stay in places that drain them because they believe leaving would mean giving up. But the truth is, staying where your heart is unappreciated is what truly breaks you. Staying in a love that demands silence teaches you to doubt your own voice. Real strength lies in recognizing when something no longer aligns with your soul and choosing yourself anyway. It takes courage to walk away from what is familiar, but courage is born in the spaces where you refuse to settle. Freedom is not found by chance. It is chosen deliberately, often through difficult, lonely decisions that later become your greatest turning points. Freedom in love is not about rebellion. It is about authenticity. It's about living in a way that honors your truth and protects your peace. When love begins to feel like confinement, when it starts making you question your dreams or silence your heart, that is your signal that you are not growing, you are merely surviving. You were not created to live in someone else's shadow or to be molded into who they think you should be. You were created to live fully, to express deeply, and to rise boldly. The love you deserve will never make you feel trapped in your own life. It will stand beside you, not above you. It will lift you higher, not hold you down. The bravest thing a woman can ever do is to choose her own freedom over fear of being misunderstood. Because freedom is not loneliness, it is clarity. It is the moment you see your worth so clearly that you refuse to accept anything less. You begin to understand that real love doesn't bind, it trusts. It doesn't clip your wings, it watches you soar and feels proud. A love that allows freedom creates connection through choice, not obligation. It is a love that celebrates two complete individuals who come together because they want to, not because they have to. When you finally step out of the cage that held you, you rediscover yourself. You breathe differently, you think differently, and you love differently. You realize that you were never asking for too much, you were just asking the wrong person. And in that realization, you find peace. Real love feels like freedom because it allows you to be your truest self. It lets you grow, evolve, and shine. That is the love every woman deserves, not one that limits her, but one that reminds her she was born to fly,